Joining us right now, I'm sorry he had to hear that. One of my favorite people in the world from Houston. Well, not from Houston. Doing his show in Houston, Texas. He gets done, and he immediately calls us because he is the man, the myth, the legend. The one, the only Sean Salisbury. Good morning, Sean. Sean.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, pal. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Sorry you had to, I hope you weren't listening. That was...
I listened to every bit of it. And yes, I hate to say it, but especially when it comes to NBA players, city means damn near as much as money in some cases. So, yeah, it matters where they play. There's no question.
Listen, I wish that Sacramento was a destination city like Los Angeles. I wish that endorsements and the history, and of course, there's absolutely jealousy there. But I don't know, Sean. I just refuse to give Laker leadership credit when they, let's put it this way. If Daryl Morey in Houston had LeBron James say, I want to play for you and nobody but you, Daryl would find a way to pay him all the money he wanted. And if Anthony Davis told his agent, get me out of New Orleans, I'm only going to play for Houston, I'm pretty sure Houston would be in the finals right now, and I wouldn't be giving Morey credit other than good job signing the checks.
Yeah, it's nice to go out and get we know who the great players are. I can tell you this, that when it comes to destination spots, it's almost, the Lakers, and I know they went through their difficult time, but for players, it's like, right now it's become like Alabama, right? The players recruit the Lakers, and players recruit Alabama. The Alabama, they recruit, and Nick's good at it. But you're to the point now that all you got to do is make contact with a five-star player, and if you're at Clemson or Alabama, they want to go there. So it's not like you have to extend yourself. Not that they're not good recruiters, but it makes it easier. And then being a Laker, just having the city and the pizzazz of Los Angeles, and you can afford to pay them, and the history there, it all comes together. Of course, yes, you're exactly right. The destination spots matter, and and I grew up a Laker fan. You know that, and I'm speaking to it.
Yep.
But I've been a Laker fan my whole life, but there is absolutely no question that having a city to get great players, and then what it is Jimmy's and Joe's a lot more important than X's and O's. Does that make sense?
That makes a ton of sense.
It's the case in all sports. If you give me Jimmy's and Joe's, they can, and whether that's basketball or anything, you give me an average coach with great players, I'm winning. You can give me a front office, it's kind of good, but if you're able to pay two of the best stars in the world and get some people around them, and it's Los Angeles, you're going to win. When LeBron James on your team, you're instantly a playoff team. And then if you get Anthony Davis, well, you're instantly an NBA Finals type of team with a chance to win it all, period.
Sean Salisbury joining us. Sean, you do a 4-hour show in Houston, and you do even more interaction off your show with Houston fans. And I appreciate you calling me yesterday. A lot of people don't know this. Sean texted me right before our segment. He said, hey, Dave, I have a feeling a bunch of stuff's going to happen today. I love you, brother. I want to come on your show tomorrow instead of today. And then lo and behold, Bill O'Brien fired. Plus we have A's Astros to talk about. In all seriousness, did you, and I know you fielded this question a billion times, did you think Bill would make it through the season? Did you think did this surprise you?
The timing of it surprised me because Cal McNair, the owner, hasn't had the balls to make this type of choice.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill didn't go into the. It's not so much that 0-4 start. Listen, people been. I don't like to see guys get fired. Bill O'Brien's a good man, and he knows X's and O's. The problem is, it's not just Bill O'Brien, the coach. When you try to do what Bill O'Brien's done, be the coordinator, the coach, and the general manager, it's tough enough to do one well, let alone all three. And when you try to do all three well, and you're below average at all three, or average at all three, and then you trade away Hopkins and the core players of your teams, and it doesn't work out, then you go 0-4. Well, the decision becomes easy, especially even if you've won 4 division titles. It's not enough. Getting to the playoffs is not good enough anymore when you have a franchise type quarterback. So Cal McNair's been a guy that does not say much. He doesn't. Dave, it's been like, well, is he going to talk on this? What's the deal? And I was asked, and I said, I don't believe, this was 2 weeks ago, I don't believe if they go 0-4 or 0-6 that he has the guts to pull the trigger during the season.
Yeah.
Most don't. And Cal McNair is giving Bill so much power, and they just, made him the GM this offseason. It's like permanently, And you're like, well, but it's the way they've been losing. And then Bill to come on yesterday, or should I say the day before after the loss, and say, well, we got a bunch of, I don't want to make excuses, but we got great guys, and we hung in there and we didn't quit. What? They see, if that's my head coach, everybody gets a trophy, moral victory Monday. He's got to go. And click to this, but it's Groundhog Day. Bill Murray should be coaching them. They don't. It's the same thing with a different wrapper other than the head coach every year. You tell your players they got to upgrade their game. The coach didn't, and he had to go, and Jack Easterby should be next, whether he does or not. But the surprising part was that Cal McNair actually pulled the trigger this season on a guy that, quite frankly, the head coach was telling what to do, not asking. And he pulled the trigger yesterday, and it was time. And now you got to get a great GM to go out and search the Eric Bieniemys or the Lincoln Rileys or whoever it is you see fit to coach your football team. They had to move on from Bill O'Brien.
Sean Salisbury with us. You brought up Eric Bieniemy. We were talking about him earlier. I saw a poll, I think your show Twitter account put out. I think it was 4 different coaches. I want to say last I looked, Bieniemy was like at 74%. Sean, we've talked about this. It seems like in coaching circles, especially in the NFL, it's like this revolving door of Bill O'Brien's, Adam Gase's, Josh McDaniels. You get a new guy here and there, but overall, it just seems like there's a lot of recycling. Do you think Bieniemy might finally get his shot?
There is no way in hell that we will be talking next year, and Eric Bieniemy will not be a head coach.
Okay.
There's no way in hell that it doesn't happen this year. Aside from the fact that he's worthy and has proven it, their offense just continues to excel. And what I love most about EB, and I've known him a long time, he's been through every layer. He played. He was tough. He's been a position coach. He's gone through being the offensive coordinator. He's been through losing seasons. He's now on a winning team. And Patrick Mahomes came to them as a very, very talented guy, but still had some flaws in his game. Hard to believe, but he did. And Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid have completely have taken, even when Mahomes didn't play great last night, but they always put him in a position of strength, and he capitalizes on it. He is special, and Eric Bieniemy is special, and he's a big reason why. Players love him, but there's that respectful fear for him that you have for your dad. They respond to him. EB feels like he's 30, yet he's been around football for a long time, and I like guys who've been through the hard times and been passed up and have not complained about it. He just stays the course and know how to win, because you got to learn how to win, too, in this league, let alone learn how to lose. And EB understands it, and he gets it. Yes, and I hope the Texans make him an offer he can't refuse, but they're going to be standing in line. He's going to have more than one offer, and we'll find out which one it is. But I think that for Deshaun Watson's progress, that Eric Bieniemy would be great for him.
Sean, given all that, why the move to Romeo Crennel then in your mind as the interim head coach?
Well, what do you do during the season? You can't. Eric Bieniemy's not allowed to leave his job. He can't leave his job now, and it does no good to hand a coach. Because here's what you inherit. Let's say the rules allowed you to get up and that Andy Reid would say, yeah, go coach the Texans. You haven't had a training camp. You can't put your own staff together, but go be a coach for them. Well, if you start off, think about the bitterness fans would have, like, well, you're inheriting this. Well, you can't fix it without training camp. It serves no purpose. So, and you can't hire, I mean, what other interim you'd have to hire somebody else, an interim coach in the house, and he's the veteran. He's been a head coach before. All he's going to do is oversee. That's why Romeo Crennel's been hired as the interim coach. It could have been Tim Kelly. It could have been somebody else. But he's the most experienced. He's been around the most, and it makes the most sense. So you got to deal with an interim coach. That's why I don't subscribe a lot of times to firing your coach during the season unless you've completely lost them, which it appears Bill O'Brien had, and it was moral victory Monday, is because you're going to fire the interim coach anyway. Those guys don't stick around. They replace that guy too, and that whole staff's going to be replaced. But under the current landscape of the NFL and the rules, I'm not letting Eric Bieniemy go during the season when I'm trying to win a second Super Bowl if I'm Andy Reid, and I'm not sure the rules would even allow him to interview right now. So Bieniemy's going to get his job, but you have to hire somebody in staff, and that's the problem with an interim coach, because you know he's going to get fired too.
Sean Salisbury joining us. Also, last thing, was this If you could try to rate it, X% to X%, what percent was this Bill O'Brien 0-4 and the team just losing the way it was? And how much of this was cumulative from this trade to that trade, the moves he's made in the past? How much of this was past transgressions? How much of it to you was this year?
Dave, that's a great question. A lot of it's past transgression. A lot of it, most of it. Listen, Bill O'Brien's the one in this city. If Bill O'Brien wins, he got no credit. Nobody, even though when he coached a great game, it was everybody, the players, man, the players played great. When Bill O'Brien lost, even if Deshaun threw a pick, somebody fumbled, somebody missed a tackle. Bill O'Brien sucks. That's fans sometimes in general, but I don't coach effort, and no coach should ever in the history of sports, in any sport, have to coach effort and competitiveness. What you got to do is adjust and game plan, and Bill wasn't doing that. This team 3-and-out coming out of the locker room, so that's obvious. But this wasn't just an 0-4 start because the first three teams are pretty good, but they lost to an 0-3 team that didn't even get to have a full week of practice, and it's the way they were losing. It's embarrassing. And J.J. Watt said, it's humiliating, it sucks, and it's embarrassing, and it is. And as the head coach, you bear that brunt, and the quarterback does too. But Watson's like the untouchable in town, and I get it, he's special. But this is cumulative trades, Dwayne Brown, the Clowney situation, and then Hopkins topped it off. And when you're not getting production from the wide receiver crew and you're losing, it truthfully was an easy decision and probably came a bit late, but he had so much power you could do nothing about it. They'll be better off. They got to go get an offensive mind and then hire a great defensive coordinator and hire coaches who will not allow the players to just show up and be casual. There's too many casual players on this team. They're on watch, and they better take notice because there's a bunch of guys I'd run out of town there too because they're just not very good. They're just not. It's a good thing they got the quarterback or they'd be 2-14.
Sean Salisbury joining us. A's Astros. We are the home of the A's. A lot of A's fans. You guys double them up 10-5 yesterday. And one point I've been trying to make is for A's fans, what a nightmare if not only did they lose to the Astros, but they lost to the Astros and their bats. Am I correct, Sean, in your guess in saying that if the Astros do end up winning this series on the back of their bats, that there's just going to be a steady flow of smack talk coming from that dugout and those press conferences? And to be honest with you, I can't say that they don't deserve the opportunity to do that should they win the next two games.
Yeah, well, I've said even on my show, and I know baseball fans across baseball, and remember, I'm a diehard Red Sox fan, but I root for the Astros when they play. I'm a Billy Beane fan, so I got people all over the place in this damn thing. But for me, I can't stand. I like a good competition and getting after it. The truth is, Carlos Correa and the Astros shouldn't be talking.
Yeah,
you beat the Twins. You made your bed. You screwed up. I know other teams may have been doing it, but I'm not worried about other teams. They're not in the divisional championship series right now. And I know Mike Fiers is on the A's. I get all that, but the sensitivity of okay, look at us now. What are you going to do now? Well, what you got to do now is you got to win a 5-game series. That's what you got to do. And this is one game. Your bats are woken. Now, they're a dangerous – listen, their swagger is not based on pitching. Their swagger is when they hit. Mm-hmm. They want to beat you 12-5 or 10-5 like they did yesterday. And they're getting great pitching from guys like Fromber and Christian Javier and Urquidy, guys that you didn't expect to do it. And their bats have been silent for the most part from the Stars all year. They woke up yesterday. It's one game. I know they moved on from the Twins. It's one game. So I don't like all their chatter. I kind of like the competitiveness where people are getting after it. But the chatter and, the woe is me. Listen, the Astros screwed up. And now that the best thing you can do if you want to quiet everything down is, like you said, Dave, go hit. Go hit and win, and then everybody's going to hate you even more. But then you can smirk about it and be like, haha, got him because we hit and we don't have a trash can. So they made a mistake. Now they got to live with it, and now they got to overcome it. And yesterday, they got to a great pitcher who's been the best pitcher in the American League, if not baseball, the last 5 outings. If those bats are alive and well, it's dangerous because they can mash. The key for Oakland is they're going to have to keep those bats down because once the Astros get feeling it, it can be dangerous. This is going to be a fun series. It's far from over, and I hate all the chatter for a team that just needs to have 2 ears and 1 mouth and use them accordingly, and I'm talking about our own Astros here.
My guy's going to get mad at me because we're out of time. I don't care because I cannot let you go without asking you. It is a probably 4-headed race right now. Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes has to be in there. Maybe Tom Brady's on the outside looking in, just kind of hanging out. Who's your MVP right now?
Brady and Mahomes are on the outside looking in because really, it's funny. Mahomes plays average, which is some other guys good, and we're like,
I know.
You watched him last night, it was like he was okay.
Yeah.
He was okay against the Chargers, yet they still win, and they not only win, they dominate you. So that's a good sign. But I would Patrick's 4th or 5th right now. To me, it's a legitimate 3-horse race. Russell Wilson's playing crazy. When Aaron Rodgers is throwing it like he is now, and when he's this confident, there's no better passer in the world ever, and that's a fact.
Yep.
And then you got Josh Allen, who's the most improved, and they are real in Buffalo. The MVP right now, I would put Russ Wilson there, but I'm going to tell you what, if you blink, the other 2 guys can overtake you. This is going to change leads throughout the year. It's a 3-horse race in my mind.
Sean Salisbury, follow him online at Sean Unfiltered. He's always super interactive. Listen to his program. It's available both live and online, and listen to him each and every Monday, 8:05, and today a special edition, Tuesday at 8:05. Love you as always. You're the hardest working man in the business. You deserve every good thing coming to you, and we appreciate your time, buddy.
Love you, brother. Thanks. Appreciate the compliment. We'll talk to you next week.